Coming up on today's show, we are talking about living a healthy lifestyle, diet, and how stress is impacting our bodies and our minds. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up Well. I am your host, Portia Scott, and I am never alone because I am with my two expert co-hosts, Dr. Donovan Christie and Martinez Marty Sellers. But before we get started, you guys know how we do. What are you grateful for? So you guys make sure you put it in the chat. Let us know what you are grateful for on today. We want to hear from you. We also want to know, where is it that you're watching from? Where is it that you're watching from? Chasmin, hello, darling. Thank you so much for the compliment. Raymond said, bless all of you. Hello, darling. Thank you guys so much for joining. So let us know what you are grateful for, as well as where are you tuning in from. So you guys know one of the things that we love to do is we love to stay in touch with you. The way that we do that is through our community text as well as our email. So what I want you to do, even if you've done this before, I want you to text the word hello to 737-0867. What this does is this not only allows you to know when we're going live, but what we have done is we have revamped our whole communication. And so we'll be sending out weekly inspiration. We'll be sending out tools and resources that you need to, one, take your life off autopilot, optimize the power of your uniqueness, and execute intentionally in every area of your life. So we'll take some resources from this show, as well as the live show and the podcast, to make sure that we're bringing you the resources, the tools that you can literally live your best life. So join our community. Text the word hello to 737-0867. Chasmin, hello again. Pamela, hello, darling. How are you? How are you guys doing? So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host. Why? Because today's show is going to be incredible. So listen, what I want you to do is I want you to share. This information is so important. We've been talking about COVID. One of the ways that you can have a defense around you is your healthy lifestyle. And so I want you guys to know that we want you guys to live healthy. We want you to live long, and we want you to wake up well. So as you're sharing, as you're putting in what you're grateful for, I'm going to bring on my first co-host, who is Dr. Donovan Christie.
Hey.
Hey, Doc, how are you?
Oh, awesome.
Good. You know, we talk about what we're grateful for. And because you're on here, I just want to go ahead and show this little book. I'm going to show it again throughout the program. This is Invigorate Yourself with Lifestyle Medicine by Dr. Donovan Christie. We're going to put the link as well in the comments so that you can purchase this book. Listen, when you hear the information that's in here, you're going to want to get this book. I read this book last year when I went to one of Doc's conferences, and it just blew me away, the information that's in there and how it really does give you control of, you feel like you're in control of your life. Sometimes, Doc, we go to the doctors and we feel like it's what they said. It's the medication that they're giving us, when the body, as you teach, is made to heal itself. And so I just love it, because I believe, right, that the Bible goes in and works with science, right? And so we can see all of these things biblically, and then we have the science on the other hand. So while I am talking about that book, you guys are purchasing it. One of the things that I do want to do is for the first 5 people, that's the first 5 people to join the community. Daryl, can you put that number back on? The first 5 people to join the community by texting the word hello to 404-737-0867. I am going to send this book to you, because once you text me, I can text you back and say, what is your email? What is your mailing address? Or if you want the Kindle version, we'll do that as well. The first 5 people to do that, I'll be able to see when you come in. So I'll be able to know that. But if you say, Portia, you know what? I text hello last week. What I want you to do is say, girl, I need a book. So if you are already on that list for this one, I want you to text, girl, I need a book, and I'm going to take care of you. But those first 5 people, we are giving away that book because I want to make sure we get it into your hands. So, Doc, what are you grateful for today?
Well, I am just grateful for health. And, since the topic is health, for a man of my age and tenure, I have no ailments. I have no arthritis. I have no blood pressure problems. I have no psychological issues. I'm just here and living and trying to do what God wants me to do. This is my mission right now.
Absolutely. I love it. Nicole Toon said, girl, I need a book. Yes, I got you, Nicole. I got you. So the next person that I want to bring on is Martinez, Marty Sellers. And as he's coming in, I'm just going to take a sip.
I love it. Merch.
For my
Love
cup.
it.
Y'all see that? Mental Health Matters with Marty.
No.
So
Doc, I
Marty
got one
now
sending
has
one out
merch.
to you.
Marty,
Okay.
can we go get our merch on your web? Is it up yet, or this is a preview?
That's a preview of it. So it should be next week. You should be able to go to my
Okay.
website, mentalhealthmarty.com, to get your merchandise. Thank you, Daryl. Yes.
All right. So, Marty, what are you grateful for today?
You know what? I am so grateful for this platform that you have created and to share this with you and Doc week after week. I'm grateful that you both have spoken life into me. And even when I got sick with COVID, I kept hearing Doc's voice in my mind. So, y'all, I'm grateful that Doc doesn't just preach it, but he walks the walk that he talks about as well. And he's putting that into me, and he's changing. Both of you are changing the way I do therapy, how I practice it, and it has been effective in helping to naturally heal others as well, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, all those things that's wrapped up into it. So I'm just grateful for the community that we have right here that has not only been a blessing for those who watch us, but it's been a blessing to me and my entire practice as well.
Awesome.
Marty, that is so good. I am grateful. My middle sister is here from Texas. Her husband is in the military, so they live in Texas, and she's up. And so I am grateful for one sister. So I have a middle sister and I have a younger sister. Of course, I'm the oldest. And so
I got you.
I act like an older child. Like I act like the oldest sibling. And I am grateful that I not only love my sisters, but I like my sisters. They are my best friends. I call them, I trust them. And so I am so grateful for 2 sisters who are 5 and 10 years younger than I am. So it's great that we have that opportunity. So I want to jump right into the stuff. I want to jump right into the meat of the matter. I know you guys are usually on here for the COVID update. So we're going to do really, really quickly. We're just going to give some numbers very quickly, very briefly. And then we are going to jump into why you are here is so that we can live a healthy lifestyle. So Doc, go ahead and give us some of those broad numbers.
So the topic of this discussion this week should be how not to be one of the 175,000 who have died from COVID-19 in the last 6 months.
Right.
Basically, the total amount of cases in the U.S. is a little over almost 6 million. It's 5.65 million. That's the one. Those are the ones that's been tested. Remember, I've always said that you have a lot of people who have not been tested, who have had it and probably got better, or who have passed. If you look at, say the onset was March of this pandemic, and now we're at the end of August. So we're looking at about 5 or 6 months. On an average, we have 45,000 new cases of COVID being diagnosed per day. 45,000. Right now, that's where it is. It's 45,000. When we peaked back in April, it was somewhere around 40,000. It went all the way up to 80,000. Now it's trending back down. So that's a good thing. The amount of cases that are being diagnosed are down, but the death doesn't seem to be coming down that much. We're averaging about 1,000 people a day have died 175,000, you figure 175 days, that's around 6 months. That breaks into about, 1,000 cases, 1,000 deaths per day. Which is pretty gruesome when you think about it. This is amazing. I never thought I would see something like this in my lifetime. So I think what we need to do is to focus on what we need to do so this pandemic is not over, so we don't become one of the less fortunate people here that we're, talking about.
Absolutely. Doc, this week I sent out, because after the lives, I kind of talk to people who join, because I think it's important that we listen to the community. And I sent this out and said, hey, what are some of the topics? What are some of the feedback? And a big topic was healthy lifestyle, weight loss, and stress, right? How do I deal with stress? How do I deal with having a healthy lifestyle, right? And so I'm so glad that we're able to do this, because I think it's so important. Doc, one of the things we talked about is pretty much everybody, it feels like everybody in your house, or a large portion of the people in your house, are frontline workers, are medical workers, and no one in your house has gotten COVID. And so as we talk about this, let's look at their lifestyle and the things that you do to prevent it, or at least do everything that you can in your power to prevent it from just having a healthy lifestyle. So Doc, when you think about having a healthy lifestyle, like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I love that question, because I think a lot of people, you'll have your schools, people who are completely into nutrition, and it's all about nutrition. And then you have your your physical fitness people who are all about, well, you can eat what you want, but you're just going to, I'm just going to exercise my way to good health. And then you have these people who don't do either of those. They're just more into the spiritual piece. You see a lot of this in Sunday churches. These women, they're not in great shape. They may be obese, but they are. They're very spiritual people. Oh, the Lord is going to take care of everything. So here's what I want everyone to know. It's the triad.
Yes.
You need nutrition. You need exercise. And you need spirituality. You need all three to give you health. That's pretty much what it is, And so in my book, I talk about that triad, right? How you invigorate yourself with a healthy lifestyle medicine. So, I talk about, like, for instance, with the nutritional piece, food now is different. It's prepared different. It's processed. A lot of it is processed. It's not natural. It's not organic anymore. So you have to do your research on that. A lot of it is packaged. So we're eating not the same foods that our forefathers ate, even 50, 75 years ago. Activity. Because we had more of an active lifestyle when we were hunters, it was different. Now we're sitting around a desk for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. That's not breathing activity. So you have to find ways to get activity. And then you have, you have people who now they're figuring that we are so advanced, we don't need God. You can't do it that way either. You need spirituality. You need time to relax your mind and listen to what he's saying to you.
Right.
I love that, Doc. I love how you talk about the triad and how you really broke it down into the different schools of thought, but it really is around all of it,
Yeah.
And so, Doc, when we're talking about having that healthy lifestyle, right, it's the balance of nutrition, and it's the balance of diet, and also spirituality. And so, Marty, I'm actually going to ask you this, because I think when we're talking about balance, or what I like to call alignment, because I feel like it's very hard to balance, but if everything is aligned, knowing that sometimes I may be a little bit better here or there, but it's all in alignment. So, Marty, kind of walk us through, how do we stay aligned mentally, when we're trying to live a healthy lifestyle, have this diet, no stress, make sure our spiritual is intact. It can feel like a lot. So how do we do that?
Doc has said it very, very excellent. And definitely I'm teaching that triad more and more because we have to have balance. In order to have that balance, you have to have healthy boundaries. And I stress that all the time. When you have boundaries in life, it helps you to maintain the balance that you need. I have a personal business coach, and he was telling me, Marty, you're lopsided right now because you're saying yes to everything when you should be saying more to 90% of those things that are happening. He says, as a new business owner, you say yes. And as we're trying to overcome a lot of this anxiety and stress that we're going through, we don't have the proper balance. Saying no, and that keeps us in that, as Doc says, that triad, if you will. And sometimes we have to, as we get more eat better and focus on our nutrition, it does something to make sure that we're thinking more clearly. As we're doing our physical activity, it helps us to think more clearly. And then we're doing our meditation, which leads into the whole spirituality and whatever that might be for you, yoga, stretching, and all that. That gives us that balance and that triad that Doc is talking so clearly about, so that when stress comes our way, we are not now basing the stress because I've eaten poorly, I'm not getting enough sleep. I say it this way: when that halt, if you're too hungry, too angry, too lonely, too tired, that's when our stress levels tend to go through the roof. That's when we make poor decisions. We cannot think properly. So therefore our anxiety, our depression, the feelings of being overwhelmed and all that goes through the roof because we don't have that balance due to that triad that Doc was talking with. So that triad is equally important in our mental health because they are all interrelated.
I love that. I love that. That's so good. Go ahead, Doc. What were you about to say?
Well, no, I think Marty just, he just hit a home run because I really think that the basis for most chronic disease stems from stress. Because
it does.
People, they think stress just, the mental aspect to stress, the anxiety and the depression. But what happens in the endocrine system when you're stressed? That's important. People need to understand that stress will reduce your immune system.
Come on, Doc.
Right? When you're stressed out, certain hormones, adrenaline will go up, right? Acutely. So your heart rate will go up, your blood pressure will go up. But then cortisol, which is a hormone that goes up over time, and the adrenal gland that produces it can become dysfunctional. When you have an elevated cortisol, then you get sugar cravings, cravings, which makes you want to eat worse, right? But it's what it does to your immune system. Cortisol suppresses the immune system. And then it leads to gut issues, your intestines, which is where 80% of your immune system lies, on the lining of the gut.
Yes.
And so when your immune system goes haywire, then it creates this problem where you're now then going to develop a condition called leaky gut, which then leads to autoimmune disease. It leads to allergies. It leads to a host of chronic conditions that we treat as internal medicine and family practitioners. Stress. It's one of the root cause, if not the main cause, of chronic disease.
And Doc, you're so right. I'm sorry, Portia.
No, go ahead.
Because the brain is so powerful. We really don't understand the nature of how powerful our brain is. And when we are now in a stressful situation, like Doc says, our defenses go down, our immune system goes down. We can actually, and this is what a lot of people don't, we can think ourselves, due to stress and depression, into sickness.
Right.
Right, we can think our way. Now, if I were on Sunday morning preaching, I would say the Bible says, "Now, whatsoever things are true and honest, of good rapport, let your mind think or dwell upon these things, because it alters your immune system, it alters your energy, it alters your perception of how you're not looking for the other shoe to drop." I hear that so much. Well, I'm just looking for it, so I might as well act like it. If you think positive and start expecting the positive, you'll receive the positive. When you think negatively and always have your mind in the gutter, you're going to always think. You'll have that I'm dating myself, bad luck schlep rock, wowsy wowsy woo woo, and that will be your life. And so you're going to always think, well, I'm sick. Well, you got a common cold. I got COVID. Well, no, baby, you ain't got COVID. You just need some cough medicine and aspirin. Take your vitamin C and zinc, and you're going to be all right in 2 days.
Right. I think that's so important, right? Life and death are in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
And I always talk about having these daily disciplines, right? To me, discipline is your systematic approach to success, right? So in the morning, it's always so important that you have that discipline, right? So one of my disciplines is gratitude. And within that gratitude is my devotion and all that stuff. But it's important that you have that, because then you have your perception of what your day is going to be. So you've already told your mind how your day is going to go. So when you do encounter opposition, when you do encounter situations, you've already spoken to your mind.
Yes.
And, Doc, to your point, one of the things that I try not to do, because I love sweets. And so, but what I try not to do is eat anything sweet, any sugars in the beginning of the day. Because what happens is, if I eat it at the beginning of the day, it literally sets the tone to want sugar for the rest of the day. If I bypass anything that has sugar in it in the morning, it's so much easier to navigate that. So, Doc, I do that outside of just science. I do that as part of more so like psychological and the mental part. But it feels like when you eat sugar, you want sugar. So can we talk about like the addictiveness of sugar? Because I think that's a stronghold for many people.
Because, Portia, I want that Krispy Kreme and donut and coffee in the morning, right? When it's fresh, and they said freshly baked.
Yes, when the hot sign is on, or that old-fashioned from Dunkin' Donuts, I'm telling you.
If you believe in animal studies, right? So they did these animal studies on mice, and then they got the mice addicted to cocaine, and then they gave them sugar. And they basically separated them, and they allowed them to choose what they preferred to eat. And they found out that sugar was 10 times more addicting to the human body than cocaine.
Wow.
Yes. So sugar is, but the bad thing about sugar is that, before, in the earlier days, we ate sugar and we got around with it, right? But it's granulated sugar, it's processed sugar, it's very rapidly absorbed sugar. What sugar is the biggest stimulus in the body for insulin. It's all endocrine, neuroendocrine, if you think about it. But when you put the sugar in, insulin rushes out. Insulin then tells the body, oh, we have energy here. Let's store it. So, and the body can only store about 300 grams of sugar in the liver. That's the only place where sugar can be stored.
Wow.
What happens when you're taking in that Krispy Kreme, where one bite is 300 grams, the rest gets stored as fat. So,
Doc is killing me.
The threshold is already maxed out. You're already maxed out with your sugar storage. So now turn everything into fat. And so when you don't eat sugar, your insulin level drops. When your insulin level drops, the body is forced to use the reserves, which is in the form of fat. So now it mobilizes it back, and fat can turn back into sugar, so that we don't ever need to eat sugar. If you have fat on your body, you don't need sugar.
I didn't think I ever needed it. but what that does,
sugar will turn around. it'll come back and say, "Oh, okay, here we got."
I might need it for the future.
Right. I need to store up all this sugar. So, Doc, when you talk about sugar, you talk about that granulated sugar. We talk about like high fructose sugar. And so I think I want to really help people with, as they're trying to eat healthy. There's so many diets, right? And now they don't have any sugar, as in Chris. I just bought half dozen of Krispy Kremes, girl. There is no, listen, this is a non-judgmental space, right? We are trying to get better. But when we talk about sugar, we look at donuts and ice cream and all of that stuff. But then you hear, okay, well, you know, a banana has as much sugar in as a Snicker. Is that different? Like, do I have to throw away all my fruit too? Like, you know, sometimes you get to that point where so much information. So
I know. And the thing about eating fruits, you know, if you're diabetic, I do restrict the amount of fruits that diabetics eat because you've already gone over that threshold and now you have a disease. But if you're not, fruits are fine to eat. The good thing about eating a fruit is that you're eating the entire fruit. So what else is there? You get the enzymes, you get the phytonutrients, you get the fiber. All of that, when you eat a banana, the body has to work to break down that fiber to get to the sugar, right? So essentially, your net carbohydrate increase kind of levels out versus just eating processed sugar, like in the form of a donut, which just goes straight into the bloodstream. So it all has to do with glycemic index. And some fruits do have high glycemic index, which is the glycemic index is how high your blood sugar is going to go up and how rapid your blood sugar is going to go up by eating a particular food. So you want to eat like an apple, plums. Those have fiber. They're fiber, soluble fibers, things that's going to slow down the absorption of the sugar. And that's the way it was intended. We weren't really meant to eat Snicker bars. Snickers is all sugar and fat. I mean, you know what I'm saying is that, and then if you did that every now and then, it's okay. What I'm talking about is habitual bad eating, where people just keep doing it day in and day out, and day in and day out, and then so you're eating your body nutrients. You're not getting the enzymes. You're not getting the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients that's in those whole foods. You're getting processed carbohydrates that's messing up your entire GI tract.
Yes.
Like Doc was saying, I'm sorry, Portia, as you're eating them constantly, now we have to deal with why. What are you using that Snicker bar now to replace instead of dealing with the matter, the trauma, the whatever that might be at hand that you're trying to ignore because it doesn't go away. So now we're complicating the issue. Now I not only have the problem that I'm trying to ignore, now I have this huge sugar intake that I want to constantly have. Now I'm having weight gain. I'm having fat. I can't now fit into my jeans. I don't have the body I want. Now I'm having low self-esteem. Now I'm going to ice. It's a snowball effect. So we have to deal with the problem itself because we use food as a way of dealing with situations instead of taking it on hand on and dealing with and processing our emotions.
Yeah, Marty, you know, I say this thing that I'm an emotional eater. I eat with every emotion, like when I'm sad, when I'm happy, when I'm like, and so, but you say that because it really is important, you know, celebrating something, let's go eat. And it's not necessarily, a salmon salad, right? I'm like, listen, I deserve this, you know, or when it's like a lot is going on. I think Pamela, in one of the comments, she said that like she's lonely. And all of this stuff has gotten her. So she's hungry all the time. Right. And so I guess when we don't know what to do with that emotional eating, with those emotional cravings, I guess they would be, Doc, you know, almost too. Yeah. She says, as I'm a walking example, my stress has invited arthritis and heightened my sugar craving also. So I cannot miss, she says she cannot miss her positive thoughts and devotions. But because she has this heightened craving of sugar, it's almost like how do you kind of stop that, you know, the cycle, or start to work on that?
And that's where the mental piece comes in. because, we can tell you what to do. And this is
Mhm.
why I told you last week that, we probably have the highest success rate. Maybe 5% of our people will make that lifestyle change, but it's not a common thing. It's so much easier for people to just continue to do the same thing that they've been doing.
Yes.
Mhm.
They don't, and so this is where the mental piece comes in, where you get into cognitive behavioral therapy,
Yes.
into meditation,
Come on, CBT.
Yes.
positive affirmations, where they have to feel empowered. And so
Yes.
it's, the mentality of a lot of folks is that they think that they can just do whatever they can do to their bodies and then go to a practitioner, healthcare practitioner, and they're going to fix them.
Right.
That is the biggest fallacy that the medical community has dished out.
Thank
You
you,
have
Doc.
to fix yourself. You have to
Right.
fix yourself, right? And so we can tell you what to do, but we're not going home with you. We're not going to cook.
Right.
We're not going to shop for you. You have to do that. You have to
Right.
learn how to do your home. Do your get up and get your exercise in, and all the benefits that exercise. You have to be able to spend time with the Father, or through meditation, or just listening to things that are positive to get your mindset in a way where you're not going to get depressed. We're all
Right.
stressed. We're
Right.
all, and
Yeah.
if you allow the stress to get to you, then you will just fall a prey, prey
Yeah.
to the chronic disease.
And that's why we need that integrative approach where you have your medical professions, you have your therapist, you have your life coach, you have a physical. And I say this, now imagine this, if we just stop buying those extracurricular activities and those extracurricular sweets and those
Mhm.
extracurricular substances to calm our nerves, that would pay for what you need right there. It
Right.
becomes a lifestyle change
Absolutely.
in that, and you will find it so much better and more cost effective to be proactive than the converse is being reactive.
Yes, that's
And,
so good.
and that's what I call it. You just said in lifestyle change, I call it a TLC.
TLC.
TLC stands for total lifestyle change.
I
I'll
love that.
patient needs TLC, tender love and care, or total
That too.
I love that. So you guys, Doc mentioned something about CBT, right? And CBT is like a goal-oriented approach to psychotherapy, right? It's a hands-on approach to psychotherapy to helping
Yes.
behaviors. Well, you know where you can find more about that? You can find more about that in Invigorate Yourself with Lifestyle Medicine with
Yes.
Donovan Christie. So listen, I said this at the beginning that the first 5 people to join our community by texting the word hello, Daryl will put the number up. You are getting a free book. Listen, this book will change your life, and it has the
Yes.
CBT in it and everything that we're talking about today. But I want to make sure that we jump in and Daryl, you can put that number up again just so that they have a little bit more time to see it. But I want to make sure that we answer Nicole's question. So Nicole says, since we are non-judgmental, she is coming with a real question.
Okay.
Any suggestions for a healthy bowel movement? She's tried all medical things such as water, prune juice, fiber, etc., but it has been a lifelong battle. She also wanted to note that she just started juicing about 16 ounces of celery on an empty stomach. This is going into her 2nd week, but she hasn't noticed any improvement in this area. So Doc, and I do want to say this, that, make sure that this is information. Doc is a licensed and practicing physician. However, we want to make sure that this is informational and that you should follow up with your current physician. If you don't have one, though, listen, Doc is available. We will give you that information at the end of the show.
Good plug. All right. Yeah, she's been plugging me all day. Thanks. It's my day. But chronic constipation, I think, is what Nicole has. And when you think of constipation, you got to think of the bowel activity and how the bowel propels food along through the whole digestive process. And then the waste remains in the colon, and then it is propelled out. Now, so obviously water intake is important, fiber intake is important. But What you're not taking into consideration, which a lot of doctors don't, they're not looking at the microbiome. They're not looking at the bacteria that's
Mm.
in there. We live with billions of bacteria in our gut that works together in a symbiotic relationship. The bacteria are there to break down foods. They are there to increase, to suppress bad bacteria, things like yeast is a fungus. It's there to suppress E. coli and Clostridium and all these other things. So when you don't have the right, you have to do what we call a total gut restoration, where you do a detox first, and Portia is familiar with that. You do a core restore detox, and then after you do that 7-day detox, then you get on these probiotics and prebiotic regimen that really heals your gut, and get you flowing along, because your gut, if you have chronic constipation, you have chronic inflammation, and you definitely
Mm.
have leaky gut. So that needs to be healed.
Doc, you mentioned about inflammation. This was one about sugar. So I want to get to that. But because you talked about inflammation, I want to hit this really quickly, because a lot of diseases, right, that we talk about, it has to do with that inflammation.
Hmm.
You always talk about it, especially as we talk about autoimmune diseases,
Hmm.
and how that's all about inflammation. So I was reading something about just dementia and Alzheimer's, and they were saying that it actually happens decades before you
Mm.
actually see a symptom.
Mhm.
Is that like and I said dementia and Alzheimer's, but I'm wondering if that's the same for cancers and autoimmune diseases and all that. They kind of start way before, we see a symptom.
Yeah, that nidus is planted earlier, decades earlier. And if you don't change your lifestyle, then
That's
your
it.
immune system gets shut down. We're having mutations on a regular basis in our bodies for cancer. But when your immune system is sharp, it identifies a mutated cell and it gets it out of circulation. It just gets rid of it. We are infected with bacteria and viruses all the time. When our immune system is sharp, we're able to get rid of it. We are dynamic creatures, right? So we have to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our body, giving our bodies the right nutrients so it can function properly. So that's what it's about. Inflammation is the root cause for diabetes. It's the
Mm.
root cause for most cancers. It's the root cause for heart disease, which is the nation's #1 killer.
Yes.
Mhm.
So the bottom line is that you have to eat right, you have to exercise, and you have to calm that fire down with meditation and spirituality.
Yes. The triad.
Yeah. The
Try it.
triad. Doc, you say something about stress. And I want to hear your example, because when you said this example, it like for me, it was like, whoa, that has to be taxing on the body, where you talk about running. So can you kind of give your example of what stress is like on the body? Because I
Mhm.
think it gives us we hear stress and we're like, we're always stressed. Americans are just stressed. But when you talk about what it does on the body, what it's like,
Right.
Mhm.
I think it gives us a little more context about that.
Well, let me explain that. The body has just one main way of responding to stress. Unfortunately, you can't tell that this is a good stress or a bad stress. And, people want to put it in that term. The bottom line is that when you're stressed, the body is going to produce inflammatory cells, right? That's just the way it goes. So when you're talking about physical stress, like the stress from running, when you get older, running is not the best activity to get your exercise, because every time you take a step, your body goes up in the air and it comes down, and it pounds. So your knees, your ankles, your toes, your body weight doubles when you go up in the air and comes down on it. So there's a lot of stress, physical stress that way. So I don't recommend running. You can run for a short period of time, but doing 3, 5, 10 miles is just not a great way, because you have other non-weight bearing things like bicycle. I switched to bicycling about 10 years ago. I still run, but I don't run. I used to do marathons when I was in my 40s. I don't do that anymore because I just
Wow.
the training, this just the
Right.
physical stress on your body, the muscle strains, I've injured quite a few joints just because of the stress. You get into it and you just keep going, and next thing you know, you're weakening a ligament or something, and next thing you know, it tears, and that's happened a couple of times, but they heal up. But so yeah, there's certainly dangerous.
Some of us it takes a little longer to heal than others, Doc.
Exactly. But as you get older too, that it does take longer.
It does.
To do with growth hormone, because
Right.
when you hit 30, your growth hormone just plummets.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, you need exercise to keep it up, to prevent it from bottoming out, because exercise will increase your growth hormone. It will increase your testosterone, and as a man, we need that, right? So
Yes, sir.
And we'll talk about that on Women's Health too, about what women need as well.
But Doc, as I'm walking a lot more, walking 5 miles and
Mhm.
doing that because I'm doing it because I'm recovering from COVID, and I want to make sure that my lungs are
Right.
strong.
And walking is fine.
Yes.
Yeah, walking is 1.2
know,
times the amount of weight that comes down
right.
versus running, which is 2 times as much.
Yes, and I feel so much better. I'm finding that then taking my zinc, taking my vitamin D, B, all of those C, and all of that. I'm sleeping better. I'm listening to my body, and I'm finding that my anxiety is much lower as a result of it. So all this is so true, and we cannot stress that enough. And this weekend, we just got a bike here at the house as well. So we got it set up in the garage, and my mother even got on it.
Oh, that's so good.
Nah, I don't have that kind of cash just yet. That's I gotta make sure these folks in here
we'll
do that.
Take the stride ride. We'll take any bike as long as it's working.
Yes.
As long as it works.
That's my goal. That might be the family Christmas gift this year.
Right.
I gotta make sure they
we have one, and literally everybody gets on it. Everybody gets on that thing. It's amazing. Sometimes I get up in the morning and I don't want to go to the gym. And somebody's on the bike. I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
Right.
I wanted to point out one quick thing, Portia.
Yes.
There's this one section. I have a 3 pages just listing the benefits of exercise, and I just want to read, say 5 of them. Improves the immune system. Reduce your risk of heart disease. Improve body posture and strengthen the spinal muscles. Improve your memory. Circulation to the brain, improves your ability to burn fat, increases growth hormone.
Wow.
Relieves stress and anxiety, relieves endorphins that makes you feel good, increase muscle strength, help preserve lean body tissue, reduce risk of high blood pressure and diabetes, increases heart circulation, and on and on and on. 3 pages. Just why we need to do it.
That's so good.
It has to be done. God gave you all these muscles. He didn't expect you to be sitting around a desk for 10 hours a day. He expected you to move. And because we don't have time to do those types of activities, we need to dedicate 30 to 45 minutes to an hour, 5 to 6 days a week, and get it in.
Absolutely.
And you can do with everything else. You can
you really can.
I love that. Yeah. I love that, Doc. Deja had a question. She said, how quickly can people transform their health and be healed from chronic diseases, diabetes, heart disease, et cetera, after making this lifestyle change?
Deja, that's a question I'm asked every day. I turn around and I tell people, so how long did it take you to get to this part? The thing is that we as Americans, and this is not a knock on Deja, I'm just saying we as Americans, we like quick fixes.
Quick, instantaneous, yes.
Instantaneous. Say, I've had people come in, I've been overweight my whole life, and they're like 50, right? How long is it going to take for me to lose this 100 pounds? And they want it done, they want it right away. I said, listen, you have to develop this lifestyle change. That's why bariatric surgery is so big. They go in, and they basically say, okay, well, since you're not going to change your lifestyle, I'm going to give you bariatric surgery. So I'm going to go in and cut your stomach down to the size of about this much.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't eat. And if you eat like you did, you're going to feel uncomfortable. And there's
Yeah.
a whole host of complications from that. And within 5 years, since you didn't change your lifestyle, you didn't change up here, you didn't change your attitude,
That's
all
it.
comes back. It
Yeah.
comes back. So it's a matter of, I would say, minimally a year. Invest it. Say, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to do this thing right. You can get your blood pressure under control by losing about 30 pounds, depending on how much you have to lose of fat, because fat is inflammation. Think of fat as inflammation, right? It's all those cells, those adipocytes we call them, they release all types of
Mm-hmm.
cytokines which are inflammatory, and they produce inflammation in the body. So the less fat you have on your body, guess what? The less inflammation, the less inflammation that's going on in your arteries or in your circulation. So it's very important to not be in a hurry. Just make those gradual changes. Make those changes. Within 3 months, you should see some positive impact.
Yes.
Within 6 months, more. And if you're consistent, within a year, you can lose 50 to 75 pounds.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah. Doc, Raheem said he started riding a bike and lost 13 pounds. I used to have knee pain and it has subsided. That's funny too, because I was in the military. We used to run all the time. And you know what actually made me a better runner? When I started riding the bike more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it helps on the knees and things like that. Doc, one of the things I wanted to ask is, there's so many diets, right? Like for me, I've done intermittent fast. I have not done keto because I've done intermittent fasting. I usually try to stick as closely to a paleo or Mediterranean diet outside of the the Krispy Kremes and all that stuff. And so there's so many diets and it's almost like, well, which one is for me? Because there's so much new stuff. There's so much this I'm getting thrown at. So, how can a person decide or determine what diet works for them? Because maybe they try something, doesn't work. So they feel like I'm just stuck. Is there anything that like they can do to see what works for them?
Yeah, for sure. I want you to know that, there's a lot of proponents out there for, eating for your blood type or eating for this or for that, but the bottom line is that our bodies kind of work the same. Okay. If you have a condition, say you have coronary artery disease, which is hardening of the arteries in the heart, that means you're going to have hardening of the arteries in every other blood vessels, including your brain. That's called cerebral vascular disease. Those are the people who get strokes. Those are the people who get early Alzheimer's, right? Alzheimer's disease or dementia. If you have coronary carotid disease, you can get a stroke. That's blockages. So you are, listen to this, as young as your pipes, your circulation. Okay. So you want to make sure you are protecting your circulation. Your circulation does it all. For your kidneys, people end up on dialysis because they have renal vascular atherosclerosis or hardening of the arteries there. That's how they end up with kidney failure most of the time. Granted, it can be from an inflammatory response, from lupus could do that as well, but that's still inflammation, right? So wherever, for men, and I'm going to talk about this quite candidly, as a guy get into his 40s and 50s, they develop erectile dysfunction, and a lot of that has to do with penile atherosclerosis, where the blood flow has been slowed, and those vessels, those blood vessels in that area are very susceptible to circulatory flow issues and blockages. So I'm able to get a lot of men motivated to change their lifestyle because that part is not working. Right. And they were like, oh, well, I got to get that fixed, so what do I do, Doc? But I say that because, you gotta eat in a way where you're not putting in too much sugar, in your body. You want to be able to eat a natural diet as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Mediterranean diet, but the Mediterranean diet is a slow way of losing weight. To drastically lose weight, because we're Americans, remember, we want everything quick. The best diet to do that is the keto diet,
Mm-hmm.
because you're eliminating pretty much most carbs. Intermittent fasting works well with any of the diets. But if you have circulatory problems, the vegan diet is best because it's been shown to reverse the hardening of the arteries by eliminating animal products, which is where you're going to get the cholesterol from, which contributes to hardening of the arteries.
Right.
And that's so interesting. I'm sorry, Portia, but that I'm getting a lot of men in their even mid-30s now because of their lifestyle, having ED, erectile dysfunction, and all that. But it's so important that, Doc, you said it, that even in all these diets, and we're talking about bariatrics and all that, that you have a mental health provider supporting you in that as well. Because if we're not dealing with the issues, the core issues that's deep in us, the mental issues, the psychological things, the only thing that happens, you're looking for this surgery again to be a quick fix. We might lose weight, but then in less than a year or so from that, as Doc even said, not only do most patients gain their weight back, they gain more back because they have not dealt with the psychological issue, whether it's trauma, rape, PTSD, any of these things that they have not dealt with, where they use food as a way to not deal with the challenge as well. And I say this too, Doc, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if you agree with this, that the longer you have been dealing with that issue, normally there's some time in there we have to process. It does, and I tell my patients this all the time. If you've been dealing with this issue 10 years, we're not going to fix it in 10 days. Because we have, like an onion, we got to pull back each layer of that and deal with each layer and identify it. We have to identify the cause, call it exactly what it is, and then put it where it needs to be in that. And so that's a process in itself. So it's very complicated in that. However, it is definitely fixable and doable with a integrative approach to that. And I believe the only way to be successful in our weight loss, in our getting rid of some of these chronic diseases and so forth, is going to be a combination of physical, what Doc is doing physiologically, and mental as well. You can't just do one or the other. And one of the things we do, I said, because I will refer them back. I said, I can't treat you until I get some sort of report from your primary care doctor, because this is just not mental, it's physiological as well. We have to deal with both of those. They're going to deal with the physiological, I'm going to deal with the mental, but we can do this together. And I'm doing more Zoom meetings with doctors and so forth, so we can best help our patients that's in front of us.
Yeah.
Well
Pamela said she's making gradual change. She's working on a plant-based, like, recipes and more fiber. Doc, because and there was something else. Oh, Nicole said that she looked on Amazon and found something, but the Core Restore isn't on Amazon. Is that correct, Doc? That's something that she has to get through you, because she said she'd feel more comfortable ordering it from you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on Amazon. Yeah, they sell it to doctors, but a lot of things now are being sold to the public, direct to consumer. So we do have it, but if you see it on there, I think if it comes in a box and it has the full kit in there, that may be where, if it's easier for you to get it there, you should do that.
Yeah, Nicole, just send me a screenshot of that, and then I can tell you if that's it, because I've taken it like twice, and it really, really is good. So I love it. But Doc, there was one thing that you said, that keto helps you lose weight really fast. And so I think one of the things for me when I thought about keto was like, I gotta weigh everything out. Like, who has time for that? I have 2 children. And so
well, no, the weigh-in, you don't have to weigh really.
And then how do you know you're in ketosis? I think that's the thing too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, they're urinary. You pee in a cup, and they sell these sticks that you can dip the sticks into, and it tells you if you have ketones in your urine, and you want to be able to have ketones because that's what ketosis means, really, right? So when the body is not burning sugar as its primary fuel, what is it burning again? Fat,
Yeah.
right? So when fat is broken down, ketones are formed. So that's why you want to keep, in the minute you eat sugar, the body's like, let me leave this fat alone. I'm just going to use this, right? So
Okay.
that's why it's so strict. And but the basic element, the premise rather, of being in ketosis is keeping your insulin level, that fat forming hormone,
Hmm.
keeping it pretty much close to zero as possible. That
Okay.
that's the cure for PCOS. If any of these, we have these women
I have that
that have
actually.
PCOS. Yeah, you got to stay away from the sugar
Hmm.
because insulin resistance, the resistance of insulin from consuming sugar over a period of time, is what creates the hormonal imbalances that occur with PCOS. So the diet of choice for a patient with PCOS is a ketosis diet.
Okay. And then
They,
you don't stay in it completely, right? Like you go on, you go off. It's not a
you can, you can. I mean, I recommend 30 days on.
Okay.
You can do 90 days on, take a break, eat some healthy carbs. That's the thing about the ketosis program, but there's a lot of good carbs out there, like potatoes, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And you can't really do the tubers. There's the general category, sweet potato. That's a good food. It's got lots of fiber in it, but it's starchy. And most of the starches you can't have when you're doing keto. You have to do the green leafy vegetables and then obviously meat protein. You can do a vegan keto, but that's very hard because all the beans are loaded with starch. Yeah.
Right.
But I,
Where
Absolutely.
do you get your protein from? Mostly beans when you're a vegan, right?
yeah, I
Right.
did enjoy it when I was doing it. It was just that first 5 days or so, just getting used to detox from the bread and the
Bread,
sugar.
sugar,
Yeah, and then after that, it was absolutely amazing.
and
Uh,
pizza.
We're
Uh,
going.
so Trish says, are the ketones drinks healthy for you to get in and stay in ketosis?
No, I wouldn't do that. I would
Okay.
no. I mean,
Trish
there's
is
a lot of
okay.
needs. Everything again is based on American culture of wanting
Yes,
everything rapid. Get into ketosis naturally. If you don't
good.
eat the sugar, you're going to go into ketosis. That's just
Right.
some people take a little longer, but within three to 5 days, you're in ketosis.
So, Doc, you're just really saying, you know what? We just have to do things the old-fashioned way and
Right.
just do
And
things
just do it.
well and stop
Regimen.
looking for shortcuts around this and
Yeah.
be
I'm,
disciplined. Portia, I'm taking that.
Go
This,
back to discipline. That's literally the next thing I was going to ask you is how do we become disciplined? What can we put in place, Marty?
you know,
educated, Marty,
yeah,
because it's crucial to
it
anything.
is.
I mean, I can tell people what to do all the time, but if they don't have the discipline to follow through on it because of whatever is going on up here,
I'm a
you
fan
fail.
of Dr. Caroline Leaf, who says it this way. Okay, yeah, don't you? Yeah, I follow her now. She's like on there because she talks about says, we say this, it takes 21 days to break a habit. She says it takes 3 cycles of 21 days to
Yeah.
really not just break the habit, but it become a part of your lifestyle. And we can get
Mhm.
overwhelmed by that. But she says the first 5 days, 4 to 5 days are your hardest. Doc, I liken it as I'm sure I was not a marathon runner, but I did short distance and hurdles and all that. But we had to do long distance on Mondays. I hated it because I had to build my mind up to it. And that first 20 minutes of it, you're just going, oh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. But by the time you're in the stride of it, 20 minutes later, you're like, oh, your body starts feeling great and
Mhm.
everything. So we have
Mhm.
to take that by the same token. Those first 3 to 5 days are going to be like, oh my God, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But by the
Mhm.
time you start getting the stride of it, by day 7, by day 10, you're like, oh, you're starting to feel the changes inwardly. You may not see it outwardly, but you start to feel it inwardly. That's that
Mhm.
whole affirmations. I am enough. I am all right. I can do it.
Mhm.
Like a little engine. I think I can. I think I can. And how that changes into I know I can. And I always say the third part, I'm doing it. I'm just
Mhm.
yes. And so with that, find those support systems that you need that are going to
Mm,
hold you accountable. I always
mhm,
believe in support systems and accountability partners. We talk about it in church. We need a good accountability partner. We need accountability partners and coaches in life that
mhm.
are not going to put us down, but like, okay, so you did 2 days this week. Can we do 3 days next week? And
Mhm.
we celebrate those small things and stop beating ourselves up about that. I was going to go into an acronym, CALM. We'll save that for next week. But stay calm in all of that, because you have to applaud the small steps and progresses you are making, because you did not get to this point overnight. It took you some years. So to make effective change that's going to be lasting change, we have to go the distance and the long haul and stop waiting for quick fixes, but do it. Grandmama would turn them greens and them beans on the stove all day long. You couldn't wait. The same changes apply to us. We gotta be patient and sit on that back burner and let these ketos and these pounds drop off and watch our stinking thinking change to positive thinking.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As we close out, Doc, I wanted you to give kind of some last thoughts or information to resources, whatever it is that you have as everyone's trying. And it does sound like I love the comments. Sorry, guys, we can't get to the comment. A lot of the comments today. It's just because the information was so good.
Yeah.
But as it sounds like people are trying.
Mhm.
Even in the midst of COVID and everything that's going on, still trying. So, Doc, what is something that you want to leave with everyone here?
Yeah, thanks for that opportunity. The most important thing I want people to understand is that man is not better than God. And what I
Right.
say that because natural nutrition is the way to go. Okay. Most things that are packaged, and processed are not good for your body in the long haul. You can do it every now and then, because I'm not one of these people say you should never have a Snicker bar. But if you're eating whole foods on a regular basis, so I saw one of the questions they talked about strawberries and peaches and grapes. That's fine to eat, but if you have diabetes, you may not want to eat a bushel. You may want to eat just maybe a cup.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's all about eating as natural as possible. Don't eat the fruits that are in a can that has sugar in it, again, additional sugars. Don't
Mm,
drink commercial fruit juices that they add additional sugar to it. Don't do that. Eat the fruit, right? And if you're going to drink juice, juice it yourself. It's just that you don't know what you're getting out there. Buyer beware. You have to be meticulous about what you're eating, what you're putting in your body. And I think that when you take care of that part and you get your exercises in and you have your spirituality, you have
yeah,
it made. You'll be able to fight off COVID in no time.
that's it.
I love it. Man is not smarter than God, and so eat what He has given us on the earth. Those natural
Natural.
vegetables and food, the processed ones. And then Marty has taught us to be disciplined, is to really be calm, celebrate those wins, and it's one step at a time.
Right.
And so, as Doc said, how long did it take you to get here? So you may not have any quick fixes, but I'm telling you, as you start to just do these things, creating this healthy lifestyle, your
Right.
diet, your
TLC.
spirituality, that triad working together. You don't have to know it all at once, but just try something to start, right? And then you have my amazing experts here. So as I said earlier in the show, Paula, I did see that you didn't want to click off to join the community. And so I did take that as your way, but I still need you to join the community. But I will go ahead and send you the book. This is the book. It's Invigorate Yourself with Lifestyle Medicine. The link is in the comments. Daryl, if you could put that link in there one more time so everybody can get it so they don't have to go through the comments. It's Invigorate Yourself with Lifestyle Medicine. I am giving away 5 to the first 5 people that join the community. But even if you're not the 5, come join the community so that you can get the information. I'll send out weekly inspiration and empowerment. You guys know that's my thing. But also having those disciplines. How do I goal set and execute the things that we've learned here? You'll get some of those resources and tools as well if you join that community. So what I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and I need you to text the word hello And that number is 404-737-0867. If you are on our old text message, that will only be there for a week. So that's another reason why I'm telling you to move over as well. But you guys, thank you so much. This has been an incredible topic, and I feel like we have to do a part 2 very, very soon. There's so much information that you guys have given us. And listen, we want to make sure that you guys are living long and that you're waking up well. It's so important. We have work to do here to impact the lives of others, and we are not able to do that if we're sick, if we can't walk, if we can't talk, if we can't do these things. So let's keep this temple, let's keep it healthy. So Doc and Marty, thank you so much for joining as usual. I appreciate you guys so very much. You can always get in touch with Doc. And his information will come up. Him and his team are always there to help. So Doc, you can tell us, how can we stay in touch with you?
There's a number on the screen there. It's N1 Region Center. And the website is n1wellness.com. ANWAN wellness.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Doc. Mm-hmm. And then how about you, Marty? How can we stay in touch with you and get some of that good mental health help that we need?
Yes, please check me out at mentalhealthmarty.com. Yes, and we're also on Facebook at Mental Health Matters with Marty. And please check out our podcast, our weekly podcast, of course, being produced by none other than Portia Scott Media. Please check us out on all podcasting streams. And we would love for you to give us a 5-star rating and a review as we strive to get more relevant and healthy information out there about mental health, especially in our Black and Brown communities.
I love it. So I love you guys so much. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. You know how we do. We end every single show with this declaration. And if you don't have one, you can always say this as your moment of gratitude, as your first thing you say in the morning. It is a reminder to your mind that waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, I will show up. See you guys next week.